No one thought Gilligan's Island would become such a great show when it first aired. People who watched the show for decades laughed, smiled, and held on to the magic of that little island. But as the years went by, the group members we loved left us one by one. Now there is only one major cast member left. Living on to carry on such a legacy might seem like a good thing, but her path has been full of heartbreak, loss, and problems that few could imagine. Who is the last person from Gilligan's Island who is still alive? Let's find out her story and see how it all ended in a sad way. The castaways and what happened to them. Gilligan's Island began with a simple question. Suppose you were stuck on an island by yourself and could only bring one thing with you. What would it be? He thought about that question for a long time after hearing it in a class at New York University. He thought it was a smart idea to put people who are very different from each other in the same place and make them live together. That's how the idea for Gilligan's Island came about. There were 98 episodes in all 3 seasons, which ran from 1964 to 1966. People can't get the catchy theme song out of their heads even after all these years. Fans remember the actors, but many don't know what their real lives were like. There was a lot of sadness in those stories. Bob Denver got his start as Gilligan in the TV show The Many Lives of Dobie Gillis. Schwartz quickly chose him for Gilligan because of how well he played Maynard G. Krebs. Denver later played the lead role in Dusty's Trail, a show that was like Gilligan's Island but set in the Wild West. But there was only one season. He came back for spin-offs and even wore the famous red sweater and bucket hat on Baywatch in 1992. He said in 1995, "I left Los Angeles in the 1970s because I was tired of TV." Denver died in September 2005, at the age of 70, after having problems with his cancer. Schwartz found Alan Hale Jr., who played the friendly captain, just a few weeks before shooting started. Schwartz once said, "I wanted a big guy, however I didn't want a bear." Hale looked just like a teddy bear, and fans loved how he took care of Gilligan. Skipper Alan Hale's lobster barrel was Hale's first business after the show, and he worked there hard until the early 1980s. But in 1989, he was told he had thymus cancer. He died in January 1990, when he was 68 years old. Before he joined the group, Jim Backus was already a big star. He played the rich Thurston Howell III. He was in Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean and did the voice of Mr. Magoo. He kept doing voice work for the character and was in movies like Disney's Pete's Dragon. His later work was unfortunately limited by Parkinson's disease. He died in July 1989 and was the first cast member to leave the show. It was well known that Natalie Schafer could play parts that were classy and rich. She played the same role in spin-offs and on TV shows like The Brady Bunch and Three's Company. In 1990, she played her last part. She was 90 years old when she died of liver cancer in 1991. She left $2 million to help pay the motion picture and television hospital. Each of these castaways got their happy ending, but one is still missing. Tina Louise, who played the beautiful Ginger, is the last main cast member of Gilligan's Island still alive. But she has also had sad times and hard times on her journey. A childhood full of being alone. In 1934, Tina Louise Blacker was born in New York City. She did not have the kind of warm family life that many kids hope for as they grow up. Her mother, Sylvia, was a young fashion model, and her father, Joseph, raised her alone. Who used to run a candy store in Brooklyn and is now an accountant. But Tina's parents split up when she was only 4 years old. That event changed her whole life. When she had her, her mother was only 18. She was still finding out her own life, while her father was 10 years older and would soon be gone. Tina's name tells a story by itself. She once told an acting teacher that in high school, she was the only girl in her class who didn't have a middle name. Teachers came up with Louise, and it stuck. It was the name everyone would remember her by in the future. But she was a little girl who was sent away from home a long time before she became Tina Louise. She was sent to a private school in Ardsley, New York, when she was 6 years old. Feelings of loneliness grew stronger after that split. Tina said that the school was mean and scary. "I didn't want to be there right from the start," she admitted. The children were harsh to each other, forming groups like gangs. She recalled once being told her job was to hit another girl, something that left her confused and hurt. Those years felt like survival, not childhood. And the scars from those experiences would follow her even when she found fame. Life inside boarding school walls. Tina's memories of boarding school sound like something out of a dark novel. She compared it to Lord of the Flies, saying, "We were all just a bunch of angry little girls. Nobody wanted to be there." One girl even stabbed her in the wrist with a pencil, leaving a scar she still carried decades later. Punishments were cruel. When she was caught whispering to another girl at night, a teacher forced her to stand alone in a pitch-black bathroom. Spiders crawling above her. Another time, she was slapped for not running a bath properly. The few small joys she tried to hold on to were often taken from her. Her mother once brought her a doll, but it was quickly taken away by the school. She remembered, "You don't remember things like that. You just remember that it was taken away." Her closest friends were the caterpillars she hid in a box under her bed. But even those were eventually taken from her. She prayed for Sundays because that was visiting day, yet her parents didn't always come. "I yearned for hugs," she said, recalling how painful it was to wait, often with no one showing up. The pain made her dream of escape. She even tried to get sick on purpose. "I remember I kept trying to catch a very bad cold so that I could hardly speak, so I could leave this place," she revealed. But even that didn't work. Instead, she was told to call her mother, only to be told it wasn't the time to get out. Her mother was then with her second husband, who didn't want a little girl around. He wanted his beautiful wife all to himself. For young Tina, that rejection cut deep. It seemed like she didn't belong anywhere. And yet, her journey was only beginning. Between parents and heartbreak. At 8 years old, Tina finally left boarding school and moved in with her father and his new wife. She was overjoyed, finally feeling like she had a home. But that happiness didn't last long. When she turned 11, her mother, now married to a wealthy doctor, her third husband, decided she wanted Tina back. Suddenly, Tina was forced to live in a fancy New York townhouse. She had to leave her father behind, something that broke her heart. She later confessed, "I was very upset. I could never even say his name. It couldn't come out of my mouth." She blamed him for not fighting harder in court to keep her. She told him she thought he would do something, but she had to tell him she couldn't see him anymore. She was angry for years because she felt bad that she had to tell her father that. He wasn't in her life again until right before her big break in Hollywood. That long breakup left scars that fame could never get rid of. Also, her relationship with her mother was hard. Tina said, "She was the most powerful person in my life, but she often felt stuck and unnoticed because of that power." Her mom was going through some hard times. She lost her mother when she was 3 years old, and for a while, her father put his kids in a home. Tina said that she never thought she would have a child at age 18. She didn't have a mom. There was always a man for her to lean on. That need shaped everything she did, from her 4 marriages to her bad temper. Tina said that her mom was very pretty. She liked art, but she got angry easily with other people. Even though things were hard, her mother backed her acting career. It gave Tina a way to get away from her sad past. From New York City to Hollywood. Tina Louise's work began much earlier than expected. She was in an ad for her dad's candy shop when she was only 2 years old. She was really into acting by the time she was 17. She learned how to act, sing, and dance from Sanford Meisner at the well-known neighborhood playhouse in Manhattan. The Bette Davis musical Revue 2 put her on stage for the first time in 1952. He then played more parts on Broadway in shows like John Murray Anderson's Almanac, Will's success Spoiler Rock Hunter, and the hit musical Lil Abner. At about the same time, Tina was also in anthology plays on TV, such as Studio One and Producers Showcase. People were also drawn to her beautiful looks. She was asked to be a model, posed for pinup magazines, and even showed up in the 1958 Fredericks of Hollywood catalog. In May 1958 and April 1959, Columbia Pictures pushed her with pictures in Playboy. Tina, on the other hand, didn't want to be just a model. The movie God's Little Acre, which came out in 1958, was her big break. The National Art Council named her the most beautiful blonde in the world that same year. The movie industry quickly took notice. She was in the movie Day of the Outlaw with Robert Ryan in 1959. After that, she played major roles for actors like Robert Taylor and Richard Widmark. She played a lot of serious, dramatic roles in these plays. It's interesting that she turned down movies based on Lil Abner and Operation Petticoat. She instead picked parts on Broadway and even did some work in Italian movies. She was in The Siege of Syracuse and Garibaldi in 1960. Even though the decisions she made set her apart, she had a bigger role to play when she got home, as Ginger Grant. Tina came back to the US after her time abroad and worked with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, which helped her improve her skills. By the beginning of the 1960s, she was back on American TV. She had a guest role on The Real McCoys in 1962 as a country girl from West Virginia. After 2 years, she was in the Beach Movie For Those Who Think Young with Bob Denver. She would soon have a different life because of that link. Tina quit New York City's Fade In 1964 to play a different part. On Gilligan's Island, Ginger Grant is the beautiful movie star. People would know her from the show. Ginger was first written as a character like Marilyn Monroe, but the story took a different turn. After a while, Tina said, a new director took over and really started to write for my character. I loved my role so much. She became one of the most famous castaways on the show because of how much fans loved her. Tina, on the other hand, had trouble with the part. She became sad because she thought that playing Ginger would make her a typecast forever. She said over and over that she thought the part hurt her movie career. She didn't want to come back for the reunion film Rescue from Gilligan's Island, 1978, The Castaways on Gilligan's Island, 1979, and The Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island, 1981, but her co-stars did. Ginger was played by other actors. Tina's work did not stop, though. There were more movies with her in them, like The Wrecking Crew with Dean Martin in 1969 and The Stepford Wives in 1975. She also played darker parts that were very different from Ginger's image of her as a beauty. In 1974, she played a heroin user on the TV show Kojak. She also played a mean jail guard in Nightmare in Batham County in 1976. In 1976, he was in Look What's Happening to Rosemary's Baby. In 1977, he was in SST Death Flight, and from 1978 to 1979, he was on the famous soap opera Dallas. In the 1980s, she even joined the cast of a broadcast soap opera. Tina's success showed that she could do a lot more than just play a lost movie star. Nobody forgot Ginger, though, no matter what she did. Life after the island, Tina Louise kept acting in movies and on TV. She was in the comedy O.C. by Robert Altman. She was in the satire Johnny Swede, 1992, which stars a young Brad Pitt. And Stiggs, 1987. In 1990, she was a guest star on the show Married Us with Children. After many years, she was in Tapestry in the 2014 horror movie Late Phases, showing that she was still working as an actress. She didn't go to the Gilligan's Island reunion movies, but she did sometimes show up in things related to the show. She walked on Good Morning America in 1982 and The Late Show in 1988. At the 2004 TV Land Awards, she even joined the group. It was in the 1990s that she worked with Bob Denver, Dawn Wells, and Russell Johnson again in an episode of Roseanne. During the 2001 season of Gilligan's Island, she did not play a part. Instead, Kristen Dalton played her. Often, it was said that she and Denver had a tense relationship. But after he died in 2005, she wrote an emotional tribute for Entertainment Weekly. The last person from Gilligan's Island to still be alive was Tina, who played Marion. Dawn Wells died in December 2020. In a message to her fans, she denied rumors that she had ever hated playing Ginger. Never true. She said, "I love doing my part." She was also thankful for the fans who still watched the show after all these years. People were happy with us, and they still are. It's nice to watch the show when there are a lot of things going on. Now, dads tell their kids about it. I get mail about that all the time. Tina Louise stayed connected to the island for many years. Even though she had other parts, everyone still knew her as Ginger Grant, the beautiful star who got lost and ended up on a small island with 6 other people. And for Tina, that role, no matter how complicated her feelings used to be, had become a lasting part of her heritage, making people feel hopeful. She also talked about how Gilligan's Island really made money, saying that no one was getting residuals at the time. No one. The show's owners made a lot of money from it, but the company never got to see that money. Even so, Tina is still amazed by how the show has changed people's lives. She told Fox News Digital, "I can't believe it's still on." After a hard childhood, Tina Louise became a Hollywood star and then gave back to her students. Her story is full of heartbreak and strength. Even though the last person left on Gilligan's Island found a way to get away from the loneliness of her childhood, the memories of that time still haunt her. Les Crane and Tina Louise got married in 1966 while she was working on Gilligan's Island. The marriage didn't last long. Crane was a man who had many jobs and skills. He first became well known in New York City as the host of a talk show. His late-night show, Nightline, which was later changed to The Les Crane Show, started in 1963 and was known for making bold decisions. In June 1964, he brought the Rolling Stones to American TV for the first time. This was one of his most famous moments. Crane switched between playing and hosting after the show was over, never staying in one lane for too long. He was even in a movie with Tina in 1970. In an episode of Love American Style, they played a married couple, which gave fans a look at how they really lived together. In the 1980s, Crane moved into the software business, showing once more that he could do well in any area. He died in July 2008 at the age of 74, and their daughter Caprice was very sad about it. She told him with pride that he was great. He flew fighter planes. He worked as a radio DJ. He was the host of a TV talk show. He got an award. He began an online business. He was all over the place, and he was good at everything he did. Caprice remembers how brave he was and how he was always the first to try something new. He was almost certain to know what to do next before anyone else did. He was very smart and funny, but he died too soon. Even though Les had a lot of success, his marriage to Tina did not last. In 1970, not long after their daughter was born, the pair broke up. But their daughter would unite them in ways they didn't expect. A kid who went her own way. Caprice Crane was born in November 1970, not long before her parents split up. She made her own way in the show business as she grew up. After she graduated from New York University, she got her first job at MTV. As a writer and director for the network, she made shows like the MTV Movie Awards and sports specials. But that wasn't the end of her goals. Caprice started writing books, and then she wrote scripts for Hollywood movies. In the 2000s, she even helped bring back Beverly Hills, 90210, and Melrose Place. Caprice has said nice things about her mother in interviews. Pop Entertainment asked her about it in 2009. She said that living in Los Angeles kept them apart, and she always missed being close to her mom in New York. "If there is one thing I don't like about living in LA, it's not being so close to my mom," she said. She even shared how close their bond really was. "Some people think this is insane, but when I'm in New York, my apartment is literally 1 block away from my mom's apartment. And I love it. I could even live in the same building as her, but probably not the same floor. I love having her that close." Caprice's words showed not only her admiration for her mother, but also how strong their connection remained, even after Tina stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight. And while Tina's marriage ended long ago, the love between mother and daughter has remained one of the most important parts of her life. Away from the spotlight. Tina Louise never announced her retirement, but in recent years, she has chosen to live a quiet life away from the Hollywood spotlight. Unlike many of her co-stars, she famously refused to reprise her role as Ginger Grant in the 3 Gilligan's Island reunion movies during the 1970s and 1980s. Still, she appeared in notable films like The Stepford Wives in 1975 and later starred alongside a young Brad Pitt and Johnny Suede in 1991. Even though she stayed active in films, Tina admitted she felt complicated about the role that made her famous. In March 2025, she told the New York Times that she was very grateful for her time on Gilligan's Island, but preferred to be known for other things. She explained that part of her discomfort came from how little money the cast made during filming. They were paid only $1,500 per episode and, shockingly, not a cent from over 50 years of reruns. While the show brought joy to millions, the actors themselves never shared in the financial rewards. Tina's choice to distance herself from the role wasn't about shame. It was about wanting her work to be valued for more than just Ginger. Yet, despite her feelings, the legacy of the island still follows her. And in her own way, Tina has built a new life full of meaning outside of Hollywood. A devoted mother and grandmother. Today, Tina Louise is proud to call herself a mother, and now a grandmother. She lives in New York, close to her daughter Caprice Crane, and recently welcomed the joy of being a yaya, the Greek word for grandmother. Speaking to Forbes in March 2025, Tina shared that she promised Caprice and her newborn granddaughter she would live another 40 years. She said with determination, "I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not thinking about leaving. I don't think of that. I don't want to think about it. I'm running to stay healthy. I'm walking to the gym. I'm just thinking about staying alive for my family. I love being alive." For Tina, family is everything. In another interview, she reflected on raising Caprice, saying, "It's amazing when you have a child. And I had so much fun, in view of the fact that I had such a strange childhood, so much fun raising her." Now, as a grandmother to twins, a little boy and a little girl, she says they are her number one joy. This bond with her family is what gives her the strength to keep going. Even as time moves forward, Tina refuses to focus on aging or endings. Instead, she focuses on living fully for the people she loves most. And while she may not be chasing Hollywood roles, her daily life still carries the same energy she once brought to the screen. Even though Tina often felt typecast by Gilligan's Island, she has grown to see the impact the show had on people. She admitted, "We brought a lot of joy to people and still do. This show is an escape from so many things going on. Fathers share it with their children now. I get letters all the time about that." She also reflected on why the show meant so much in its time. These words showed how well she knew Gilligan's Island as a cultural site. It was more than just a comedy, it was comfort during a hard time. Tina has always told people that she was more than Ginger, though. Besides Beyond the Island, she also wrote a biography called Sunday and a children's book called When I Grow Up. She kept acting from time to time, and her most recent role was with Stephen Baldwin in the 2019 movie Tapestry. She said, "Yes, I would when asked if she would ever act again. You can think about it, but it won't come true. People don't seem to come to you. But if someone asked me to do something I liked or thought was important, I would certainly do it." Tina puts her health first these days. She told him, "I like to walk at least a mile every day, and most days I walk more than 2 miles. My daughter told me to keep living. I watch what I eat. I eat a lot of plants, but I'd not call myself a vegetarian." In her own words, Tina insists she is focused only on the present. When asked about legacy or what she hopes to leave behind, she cut the conversation short. No. My daughter said I had to live 40 years, so I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not thinking about leaving. I don't think of that. I don't want to think about it. I'm running to stay healthy. I'm walking to the gym. I'm just thinking about staying alive for my family. I love being alive." Tina's words are clear. It's been decades of fame, hardship, and survival for Tina Louise. Now her life is about being thankful, strong, and enjoying the simple joy of being alive. 91 years old and rarely seen in public. On June 4, Tina Louise, the last living Gilligan's Island star, surprised fans by going out in New York City for the first time in a long time. She was seen for the first time in public since the New York Film Festival in 2022, when she was 91 years old and walking on Manhattan's Upper East Side. She looked put together and casual at the same time by wearing a black leather jacket with blue jeans, black shoes, and 2 black bags and a navy blue umbrella. Her well-known red hair still stood out. Reminds me of the beautiful Ginger Grant she played from 1964 to 1967. Tina has said many times that she wants to be known for more than just the sitcom. She told the New York Times, "I'm very grateful for all the things that have happened to me and the chances that I've had. I'd rather be known for something else." Her family and her job with kids are the most important things in her life right now. She told Forbes in March, "It's amazing when you have a child, and I had so much fun raising her. We now have a boy and a girl who are twins. They're the best." Tina has quietly worked in New York schools since 1995, helping young kids learn to read. She says it's a very nourishing, important, and emotional experience. What do you think about Tina Louise still being busy and happy at age 91? Does her story move you? Leave your thoughts in the box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing stories from the past of Hollywood. Have a nice trip.